Hello, Michigan gardeners. This is Doug at Buzzard Family Farm. We're just outside of Marshall, Michigan on Verona Road. And I'm going to do videos again this year as I did last year for people interested in this particular part of the country and looking at different gardening things that you can do at different times of the year. And right now it's February 26, 2022, and we've still got snow on the ground, and so there's not a lot you can do outside. But one of the things you can do, and you'll find a lot of videos online about this, is you can do winter sowing. And so it's a good time to take some old milk jugs, if you got them and you cleaned them up a little bit, or some old salad trays, and you're going to effectively make these into little mini greenhouses. You're going to put them outside after you've planted them, and they act like a small greenhouse, and you can let them freeze and thaw. And eventually the plants begin to grow inside. It does take certain kinds of plants to do that, because obviously this is February 26th and we're still got some very cold weather coming. But there's a lot of plants and seeds that benefit from that kind of cold, warm back and forth that happens outside at this time of the year. One type is poppies. Any number of types of poppies. It can be breadseed poppies, which are annuals that eventually will seed back for you. It can be the oriental poppies, which are perennials. Those are great to start now in this kind of system with a winter sowing. I'm going to do a couple of different types of breadseed poppies, which we really like. Not so much for the cut flowers. They don't last a long time as cut flowers. But we do like the seed heads. They look nice in dried flower arrangements and other things that we like to use those dried flowers for in the fall. Or in the winter. And I'm also going to do some larkspur, which if you look that up, it's a really tall spiky flower. Again, it's really nice fresh, but it's also a really good dried flower also. They're both seeds, the poppies and the larkspurs, that really require cold and warm to kind of break down the seed coating. And these little mini greenhouses act to do just that for them. The nice thing about doing it in these things is you've got it right here, and when they get big enough, you can, if you want to, just pick the whole thing up and make a hole and drop it in the hole in your garden, or wherever you want them. Or you can kind of tease them apart and plant 2 or 3 different plantings. You want to try to disrupt the roots as little as possible. But it is fun to do at this time of year. It's something you can do, and you don't have to wait until it warms up. It's actually better that those types of plants get done earlier like this. So one of the things you want to do, if you've got a milk jug, is just take a pair of scissors, and I just start cutting from just after the handle, about halfway up, and I go around back to the handle and leave a little bit of it caught on, so I have basically a hinge like this. And then I'm going to poke a few holes in the bottom with my scissors for drainage, because it will get wet inside. So I'm going to put some holes in the bottom for drainage. I've got a few holes there. And then I'm going to fill it up with some dirt, which I have over here. So you can see I've got about that much dirt in there. And I'm going to wet it down. I'm working in the greenhouse today because it's nice and warm in here as opposed to outside. I'm going to wet it down. I'm going to sprinkle the seeds on top. I don't cover the seeds of either of those varieties I was talking about, the breadseed poppies or the larkspur. And then I'm going to close this up. I'm going to tape it shut. I'm going to leave the opening up here so that snow and rain can get in and keep the little mini greenhouse watered. And then put it outside in a secure place that doesn't get blown over by the wind. And in a few weeks, you'll have plants that have sprouted. And it's usually not until we're well into May, sometimes even June, before I take the plants and plunk them in the ground somewhere in the garden, wherever I want them. Last year, if you go to last year's video I did on winter sowing, I actually direct seeded some things right into the ground. You can do that. The difficulty in my flower garden is there's so many perennials coming up that sometimes I forget where they are, or they get crowded out by the perennials as they begin to grow. So this way I can find those blank spots in the garden in May or early June and put these in right where I want them, and then they grow fine once I get them in the ground. You can do the same thing with the lettuce containers, not any more difficult. Again, you just clean off the top sticker on here so you get lots of light coming into the mini greenhouse, and then again make some holes in the bottom with your scissors. I made 5 holes in the bottom of that. I'm going to fill it, maybe 2/3 full with soil. Water it down again. Get the soil that you put in moist, and I'm going to close it up. Plant the seeds, and again the bread seed, poppies, and the larkspur. You don't have to cover them or anything. Close it up, and then put them in some kind of a hopefully sunny place, but protected place. So we have some little cold frames outside that we're not using at this point, and I just tuck these down inside the cold frame. If you've got a place along your garage that doesn't get a lot of wind, that's perfectly fine. You don't want tons of moisture coming down on it, like underneath the awning of a garage where it would drip and so forth. But if you've got a place on your back deck, it's an open deck, and you can just push it in between some chairs just to secure them, because what will happen if we get a lot of wind, and we usually do in March and April in Michigan, is these will blow away if you're not careful. So you want to just somehow get them into a spot that's sunny, light, but protected from winds picking up these containers and blowing them away. So something for you to try. You can go to your big box stores or Myers, or they all have their seeds out at this point, or you can go to your favorite catalog resource online and order some of the cool weather plants that are much more difficult to start in a warm greenhouse. So we just don't waste space in the greenhouse with those kinds of annuals or perennials that we want to get going. We use Mother Nature to do what those seeds are expecting to have happen by making these kind of little mini greenhouses. Excellent way to recycle your salad containers or your old milk jugs. And again, put some dirt in, holes in the bottom. I'm going to put some holes in the top of this also, so some water can drip in and it can ventilate also. So I'll put some holes in that top lid in addition to the ones on the bottom, and then just water the soil mixture you have. Add your seeds. Read the instructions to see if they need to be covered or not. Poppies and larkspur don't need to be. And then close it up and tape it shut. And then, unless we go really, really dry, Mother Nature will take care of the watering. You won't have to do anything until you see the plants big enough. They'll be pushing right up against the top of this, and even trying to come out the top of this milk jug if they get really big. And it's time to plant them into the garden wherever you want them. Hope this helps. I'll again be doing some videos periodically during the growing season. If you find them helpful, that's great. We'll just keep posting them, and hope you have a good gardening year this year in 2022. See you on the next video.